Hello, everyone. Thank you to come here today. And let's talk about the acknowledgement of behavior patterns related to the mass nesting and mass hatch of Podocnemis expansa to develop conservation strategies. The speed human population increase in Brazil and has been threatening the Amazon ecosystem and their wildlife. One of the main threats is the growing and the uncontrolled demand for bushmeat. And unfortunately, turtle is not an exception in this scenario. Actually, giant South America river turtle, Podocnemis expansa, is classified as critically endangered by the UCN group specialists, mainly because the illegal consumption and the traffic. In the Amazon, every year during the dry period, turtles become to be more vulnerable, especially for the illegal consumption and the traffic, because they stay in groups and move in groups. They move from the feeding areas toward the riverman waterbeds where are the nesting sandbanks. To try to reduce the pressure in Podocnemis expansa, with the support of the Fundação Boticário and ICMBio, in an important protected area located in a tributary of the Amazon River, we aim to improve methods of protection and management of nesting areas using aerial images obtained by drone, acoustic communication, and environmental data to build statistical models that we can predict the mass nesting and mass hatching period in the reserve. We started this project last year during the nesting activity. And when we went to the field, we didn't have much information about how to use drones. We read few papers about sea turtles, but we didn't have much information with freshwater turtles. And then the first thing that we decided to do it was to do some tests to know the proper altitude that we can use the drone without annoying the turtles. Also, we classify the turtles in three different behavioral categories. No movements, brief movements with the head or body, and sudden movements. When they are on the nest on the beach, they go back to the river, or when they are in the river, they just dive. We started in 150 meters, and we didn't observe any disturbance from the animals. And then we come down with the drone until 50 and 25 meters. And also we didn't observe any disturbance of the animals. But in 15 meters, we observed a brief movement with the head, and in 10 meters, they dived. But when they are doing the nesting activity, it was possible to use the drone and fly with the drone until 10 and 5 meters of the altitude. We just observed brief movements with the heads. Also, during the nesting activity, we had the opportunity to observe a little bit of the female's dynamic in front of the nesting beach and on the sand on the nest beach. Here, we have a sequence of 5 days photos. We took all those photos at the same days. On the first day, if you pay attention, we have a lot of females in front of the beach. It's around 42, and few females on the nesting. But at the following days, the number of females in front of the beach and on the beach start to reduce. From those photos, is it possible also to observe that the females, they use exactly the same area on the nesting to nest every day. But there is, they use the same area during the nesting activity. But each day we can observe that there is a variation in the location of the nest. On the day, between the day 3 and 4, is it very easy to see the difference. They just use each day part of the nesting area. Also, we collected some data during the pre-hatchling period. In this period, we performed 12 those flights in a 1,500 transect parallel to the nesting beat in 4 different times, 7, 10, 1, and 4. And during those flights, we try to obtain the best images to study population estimates and do the behavior analysis. In each drone fly, we collect the images in 4 different ways to allow us to cover all the study area. Here, I have just a quickly video to show you, just for you see how is the drone performance. Drone is a good tool to population estimate, to understand, to do behavior analysis. We can do zoom in, zoom out, stop the images. Here we have a large group of turtle together. And all the fly we made in 25 meters of the altitude. And then the smallest number together of turtle we found at 7 o'clock in the afternoon. The largest number of turtle together we found at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 9 to 1 turtle together. But we didn't find any difference between the methods that we used to get the images for population estimates and behavior analysis. Also, during the pre-hatchling period, we could observe in 3 different occasions courtship behavior. But unfortunately, it's very hard for us to identify the sex of the animals. At this period also, we are recording the females, we are recording the female sound under the water, and we made the recordings at the same time than the drone's performance. Here is the equipment that we are using. This is the recorder and the hydrophone. This is the microphone that I will talk a little bit later. And here is a quickly video just to show the drone performance when we are recording the turtles under the water also. We are recording the hatchlings and embryos inside the nest. And until now, we just find the 2 types of sounds. 2 types for the adult females and just 1 type for the hatchlings. I can play, but I'm not sure if it is possible to hear the sound. I hope people could hear the sound. And then we are still collecting the environmental data, water temperature, nest temperature, and level of the river. Next week, we will go back to the field again to still getting the data to build our statistical models to predict the mass hatchling and the hatchling period. But until now, we already know that drone can fly above 25 meters without annoying the animals inside the water, and 5 meters when turtles are nesting. Drone is a good tool to study turtle behavior and population estimate. And Podocnemis expansa also use sound to communicate in other type of water, in this case, what water. And before I finish, I'd like to thank you to Fundação Boticário and WCS, and thank you. Questions?
Sit tight for just a minute and we'll see if we have any coming in. All right, Camila, are these sounds new types of sounds inside of the expansa repertoire?
The sound types are the same, but the frequencies are different.
Okay, gonna hang on for just another minute to see if we have another question coming in from YouTube. Are the drones that you're using very expensive?
Expensive? It's a little bit because we bought the drone in Brazil. It was expensive, but I think is it possible to use drones with a cheaper price than our drone?
Cool, cool. Another question, do you have recorded sound?
Yes, yes. We have been recording the sound.
Another one is, are these turtles legally protected against poaching?
Yes, they are protected, but not every time the laws work in Brazil. They live in a protected area.
And that was the last one. Thank you, Camila.